What's going on, guys? It's your boy Coder, and today, this isn't the standard ruling quiz that you're used to seeing on the stream or on the YouTube channel. However, I am going to be doing something a little bit different. So if you guys are unaware, over on my Metafy page, I've been doing a lot of ruling classrooms that also come with a quiz, and a lot of people have said, well, why should I even get a ruling classroom? All this information is available online, and that had me thinking, it might be available online, but not readily available or easy to find, and I figured, you know what, let's put that to the test. Today, what we're doing is I'm putting Farfa through my stat modulation quiz, which normally you only get from the classrooms, but I'm going to be releasing it anyway, so heck yeah. I'm putting Farfa through the quiz, but I'm making it open book, and I'm telling him that he is allowed to Google whatever he wants in order to try to find the answers to those questions. So he's going to be going through the 8 questions and trying to use his Google foo to solve it. Farfa, how you feeling? You feeling confident about taking this quiz?
I think with the open book, I'm probably going to be okay. I'm just worried that there's going to be rulings, and there are a lot of them in Yu-Gi-Oh! That simply boil down to, oh, you kind of just need to know this because Konami said so.
There are definitely a lot of rulings like that in Yu-Gi-Oh! In general, though, this quiz was made to just test the upper end level of knowledge about specifically stat modulation, which is the quiz you're going through here. I'm not throwing you for a crazy loop of like, here are 19 different effects and you gotta know Konami said so is about 7 of them or whatever. They're all legitimately like good ruling questions that test your knowledge about stat modulation.
I really hate that stat modulation is the one I'm having to do, but alright, shall we jump in?
I believe in you, Farfa. Go ahead, read us the first question.
We're gonna head on over to Twitter. We're gonna go at Grok.
What?
And let's see if we can get something out of this guy first and foremost. Alright, is this true?
At Grok, is this true? You're the average dueling book player right now, literally.
All right, I'm gonna let this run in the background. I'll do it myself for now. Okay, here we go. You control Blue Eyes White Dragon equipped with Dark World Shackles. Okay, nice. We got links here immediately. Opponent uses the last effect of Heatleo targeting Blue Eyes and the Ash in their grave. After this turn ends, what is the attack value of your Blue Eyes White Dragon? Okay, so what I do know is the way that attack values work is that you don't care about what divides, what multiplies, what minuses, what adds. When something is set to a specific value, it is set to that value. So I think that's what becoming that number means. So the equip monster, it becomes 100. So the Blue Eyes White Dragon should become 100, and then the Heatleo will target the Blue Eyes, and it will set it to 0. But it's until the end of this turn. So until the end of this turn, it should wear off. But then what happens? Does it go up to 100? Or does it return to 3k? I would assume that this is a continuously applying effect that gets set to 100. But then the Heatleo is used afterwards, setting it to 0. I think the answer is either 100 or 3000.
I'll give you that. You are on the right track. You've established exactly where the question is. Now the question is the answer 3000 or is it 100? So does the Dark World Shackles reapply, or does the Heatleo wash away the effect of the Dark World Shackles?
Wash away. Is that a correct term? Well, according to Grok,
I like to use wash away.
After the opponent's turn, as the Heatleo expires, the continuous effect Dark World Shackles reapplies, setting the attack back to 100. So I'm going to do what Grok tells me here. I think 100 is a good number there. I'm surprised that it gave anything, to be fair. So that's not bad.
That is surprising. All right, so the answer is going to be 100 here.
Are you going to tell me at the end?
Over your quiz. I'm going to go over your quiz at the end. So
okay,
yes,
all right.
This is your answer for this one. You've locked in 100. Let's go on to the next one.
You control Grenmaju and have 5 banished cards. Your opponent activates Shrink by targeting Grenmaju. After that resolves, you activate Desires by banishing top 10. What is the attack value of Grenmaju? So Grenmaju specifically says its attack becomes the number of banished cards, which I might as well talk about this because it's kind of relevant to this, but Modifiers Yu-Gi-Oh! There's an official Konami chart that sort of explains like how these things all interact with each other, like continuous effect, setting, and all that stuff, but all I seem to have here is a YG article that is, I mean, my god, dude, just look at how many freaking words this is just to check how much attack.
This is all these words just for attack modification, yeah.
So the attack defense becomes equal to the number of banished cards, so this should be 2000 with 5 banished. But then we're activating Shrink. So target the effect, the attack of the monster. Its original type becomes halved until the end of its turn. So it halves it, sets it to 1,000. And then we activate Pot of Desires to banish 10. I'm just bad at maths. So 400 times 5 cards is 2,000. Halving 2,000 is 1,000. And then 1,000 plus the value of Pot of Desires, which is 10 multiplied by 400, is 4,000, right? So it should be 5,000.
I mean, the math that you are saying is correct. I won't tell you whether or not that's the correct answer.
All right.
But that's the math. You shouldn't want to Google anything or whatever. Try to find
check it on Grok.
Anything that might tell you whether or not you're right.
Wait, Grok actually he pushed back. All right, fair enough. He said no, it's not.
Oh shit, Grok told you. Grok pulled it from YG.org too. Look at that.
So 5 banish. It's targeted by Shrink. After that resolves, you activate Pot of Desires banishing 10. Okay, so yeah, so it's at 2,000. It drops to 1,000, and then you banish off of Desires. And then it should go up to 5,000. Because Shrink is just a quick play spell card. Sets it to that number. So it gets set to that number. But then another additional modifier comes in after. It's not like in chain or anything, right?
No, it's not in chain. It's literally just you control Grand Maju, activate Shrink, then after Shrink resolves, Pot of Desires.
Okay, all right. I'm going to go with 5,000.
Damn, bro is just choosing to not Google in the test where he can Google.
Well, but there's nothing to Google here. What is there to Google? I just need the card text.
I guess the one thing to keep in mind, right, is whether or not any of these effects make it so other effects stop applying. But hey, if you're confident in that answer, by all means, send it with that answer.
So the alternative is to read this. I don't want to do that. Let me Control F Grand Mod. Okay. Why did Google translating this shit? In the question of attack of a monster affected by forbidden droplets is half the attack applied to it, so the attack of the Grand Maju becomes half of 4,000 or 2,000. The monster effect of Crimson Diuza is negated, so the defense of the Crimson Diuza becomes 0.
However, in this situation, Droplet negates the effect of Grand Maju, whereas Shrink does not do that.
But the thing is, if you Droplet Apollosa, it gets set to like 800 if it had 16, even if it's negating it.
Yeah, and that's what this ruling that you have on your screen right now is telling you the same thing. It's saying if the Grand Maju has 4k and you Droplet it, its attack goes to 2k, but its defense goes to 0 because Droplet only affects the attack stat, not the defense.
Well, I mean, 5,000 works for me. We've got Dart Rebellion Exceed activating its effect by targeting your opponent's Wicked Dreadroot. After it resolves, what is the attack value of your Dart Rebellion? The attack and defense of all other monsters on the field are halved. Attached to target a face of monster your opponent controls attack becomes half its current attack, and if it does, this card gains a lost attack. So 4,000.
You control the Dark Rebellion XC, which is 25. Your opponent controls the Wicked Dreadroot, which is 4k. And then both of these are on the board. And then Dark Rebellion XC Dragon activates its effect targeting Wicked Dreadroot. After it resolves, what are the stats of the Dark Rebellion XC Dragon? Okay,
so Dark Rebellion is at 1250. It targets Dreadroot. It gains 2,000, so we should go to 3250, and then immediately get halved by his continuous effect. Or, hold on, let me see, becomes the current attack, and if it does, this card gains. And then this one says, this is a continuous applied effect. But I actually think it's going to be 3250. Its attack becomes half its attack, and if it does, this card gains that loss. Because he's just sitting at half of 25, which, if I'm not completely stupid, is 1250.
Bro's doing math.
So I believe it sits at 1250, and then when it resolves the effect, it gains 2,000. So it should be 3250.
Bro's just not Googling. We ain't Googling anything. Bro doesn't need it. He's like, you know what? I don't need to Google anything. This is A-okay with me.
I mean, okay, so I mean, I could. Do you want me to just straight up just Google the question?
No, I'm saying if you feel like you want to, like if you feel like it's obvious and you don't have to Google, there are some questions on here that are obvious. You don't have to Google anything. But I'm just saying, you should Google for most questions just to show that you Googled for most questions.
Okay, Control F Dart Rebel. Oh shit, here we go.
4 years ago, huh?
Like, by the effect of Dart Rebel, does Dreadroot half it again? Like, if Dart Magician 25 down to 1250 gets half by Dart Rebellion, 625, does Dreadroot re-half it? It depends on which was summoned first. Whichever is summoned most recently applies last. Has its attack halved by Dart Rebellion Exceed? Does Dreadroot half it again? So what? It's going to go up to 3250 and then get halved again? So 1625? Okay, this guy's crossed out all of his answers. That's useful. Judge resources. Okay. Pasm's resources. Yo, shout outs to Pasm.
Shout outs to Pasm.
Okay, Pasm's resources. Modifiers. All right, let me just use this. Dropbox. Oh my god. Dude, this is so next level. Look at this, dude. Like, this game is so fucked. Like, don't tell me I need to look at that. Look. Previously applying. New applying. Addition, subtraction, lingering, continuous, current, attack, defense, lingering, continuous. And then the attack and defense modulation applies to the lingering. Remove previous 1 and 3 when applying a This is too smart for me. I can't follow this. I'd have to really sit down and lock in to understand this chart. It's too difficult, genuinely. Sure, you know what? Why not? It gets halved again. We'll go 1625. I'm just going on vibes at this point, honestly.
Going on vibes. Bro has a whole chart that explains every...
It's too confusing. Nope, it's too confusing. It's too hard. It's too hard.
Okay, fair.
The thing with this chart is that there are 6 different types of modifiers. Then you have to take one of those 6 and apply it to one of the other 6 and then figure out where it intersects. I mean, okay, sure, I guess I could do that. Like, so Dark Rebellion would be apply a lingering addition subtraction, apply a continuous addition subtraction, apply a lingering modification that sets or switches the current attack. So I think that's number 3 for Dark Rebellion. And then a continuous modification that sets or switches current attack should be number 4. So 3 into 4, 1, 3, 5 are not reapplied until 4. Shut the fuck up, I don't care. This is too hard. This is too hard. No, I'm sorry, this is too hard. Like, what? I'm sorry, Kevin, but I'm just like, I'm putting my hand... If this is a YCS, I'm putting my hand up and I'm asking the judge to do the math for me.
Fair. Okay, fair.
Like, I genuinely, I'm trying to do this. It's too complicated for me. I can't...
No, I mean, that's
Look
fair.
at this shit,
if it's
dude!
too complicated, it's too
Look at
complicated.
this! Look at this! Am I crazy?
This is a whole ass different chart, by the way. This is a whole ass different chart.
Okay.
Just by the way, this has nothing to do with stat modulation. Stat modulation is that one page. This one page is stat modulation.
No matter what the effects currently in play are, they are always applied last. If a new effect is applied, reapply those effects right afterwards. Let's break this down. I need to know what is Dark Rebellion XC? Where does it fall into this category? Then I need to know where does Wicked Dreadroot fall into this category? Into one of these categories.
Yeah.
And then I have to then join them together and then apply them in a sequence to come out and spit out an answer mathematically based off of where they intersect on this chart. So the problem is, like,
Correct.
I'm not 100% sure which one of these categories Dark Rebellion falls under, and I'm not 100% sure which one of these categories Wicked Dreadroot falls under.
Well, so I think that's where the crux of the whole, you know, because you can find charts like these that will explain these things to you, but I think it takes a whole other extra level of understanding of the game to be able to identify which effect falls under which category. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I think Dark Rebellion XC is number 1, and then Dreadroot is number 3. So previously applying...
Yeah, so the left side of this chart is previously applying. So which one of these is applying first?
Is Wicked Dreadroot. And then we change with Dark Rebellion, which would be...
Which would be 1. So it'd be that first line. That you're on 3 right now.
This
you
one.
want to go to 1. Just 1 over the left.
Remove previous 1 and 3 when applying 3.
Well, so no, you're on the wrong point here. So you're suggesting that Dreadroot is a lingering current attack and defense modifier. So you start there, and then you're going to a new addition or subtraction because you're saying that Dark Rebellion is an addition and subtraction.
Yeah.
Which would be just 1 spot over to the right from where you are right now.
Oh,
there.
so this giant...
That's where you
okay,
would be.
1, 2 are always applied successfully. So this is telling me that it doesn't get halved again, is what I'm understanding?
If that is the correct point on the chart, that is what that point on the chart is implying, yes.
Right, so Wicked Dreadroot, by my understanding, should... Let me just read Wicked Dreadroot one last time. The attack and defense of all of the monsters in the field are halved, right? So that is definitely apply lingering modifier that sets, apply lingering modifier that sets or switches, apply continuous modifier that sets or switches original, apply continuous modifier that sets or switches the current attack and defense. Okay, so it's actually number 4? Dude, I don't know. Like, genuinely, this is hard. To even just pick the category of which one this is difficult.
I don't disagree with you. I absolutely don't disagree. And that's what I go over in my classes and stuff like that, is quite literally breaking down what effects fall into each of these, which I think is a big challenge and something that, while you can be just handed a chart and everything that does the work for you, I think the difficult part of this is specifically like spotting which one falls where.
Yeah, stat changes. So on the wiki page, it says stat changes almost as lose attack, almost as lose defense. Half's attack, half's defense. Summoning categories. Usually there's like a... Okay, card effect type. Summon and continuous effect. But this is like a whole different thing. This isn't really referring to modifiers, I think.
Where it said continuous, that is saying that effect of the Wicked Dreadroot is a continuous effect.
Yeah, but it's talking about the effect.
The effect to half.
Yeah, but it's... Oh, right, sure. Which, I mean, yeah, but the thing is there's like 4 of these say continuous, so that's the problem.
Yeah, so is it a continuous addition subtraction? Is it a continuous switch to the current attack? and defense, or a continuous switch to the original attack and defense?
The attack and defense of all the monsters on the field are how... Well, it's not setting it. It's just continuous applying. Continuous addition subtraction. It's not lingering. So it's continuous addition subtraction or continuous modification that sets or... So it's not this one. Lingering, continuous. Continuous modification that sets or switches. Okay, so it's number 2? I think it's number 2.
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
So in this situation, if you start at 2,
continuous,
and then you apply a new 1, which is what you said Dark Rebellion Sea Dragon is, you'd be on this point.
But like, what is this? This doesn't change.
So this
anything.
is saying that the new effect is just applied successfully.
1, 2 are always applied successfully. Okay, so it should be halved again, I think is what I've concluded here. Okay,
Perhaps.
Let's just move on. Your opponent activates and resolves the effect of Armored B on Bytron. That's a crazy deck he's playing. After that, you activate Resolve Rush recklessly on your Bytron. What is the attack value of your Bytron? Okay, well, Rush recklessly, I mean, it's always just going to be X plus 700. It sounds silly, but I do believe Yu-Gi-Oh! Mechanically recognizes negative numbers. So it should drop to negative 800. Right? I might be making that up. I'm pretty sure. Recognizes it if it applies continuously. You can target a phase of monster your opponent controls. It loses 1,000. Or if this card was special. Okay, so it should just drop to 0 at least in this case.
I think a thing that I'll give you props for here is I think most people probably just either aren't aware or would assume that negative values just aren't a thing, and they would just go, it drops to 0. You know? So I think it's interesting that you're considering negative stat values. So I know this one's a little complicated because there's a lot of moving pieces. So I'll just explain it to you because I don't think the comprehension of the question.
Yeah. So I have Bytron. You have Yummy. You've resolved Yummy on my vanilla Bytron. Then you're using Armored B on my Bytron
to half your Bytron's current attack. Yeah.
After Cookie has applied.
Yes. So Cookie is applied, applying a minus 1,000 to the Bytron. So the Bytron obviously has 0 attack. Now you're implying that there's a potential of a negative stat value. Now, whether or not that exists, that's up to you to figure out. And then after that, so while the Bytron is on 0 with a supposed minus 800, you Armored B to half its attack. Then after that, you Rush recklessly your Bytron. What are the stats of your Bytron?
Well, I mean, it's either a complete trick question because it's obviously at 0 and stuff, and then you go Rush recklessly. It's like, okay, now it goes up to 700. Or it's going to be some clusterfuck of like a divided minus 800.
So this question's actually really interesting because it tests 3 things, and I can point out the things that it's testing to kind of narrow it down a little bit. 1, is there such a thing as negative stat values in Yu-Gi-Oh? Yes or no? 2, is it testing that when you half the attack of a monster that would potentially have negative stat values, is that removed? Can you even half the attack of a monster that's on 0? The other question that it's asking is, if there are negative stat values, if after you've halved the stats of a monster who has negative stat values, how much of those negative stat values are remembered? Half of the negative stat value? All of it? None of it? When you Rush recklessly? Those are the things that this question is testing.
Yeah, so it's on minus 800 from Cookie, potentially, and then that is halved, which, I mean, is it ridiculous to say that it goes down to minus 400? Then you resolve Rush recklessly, so the Bytron actually has 300 attack.
You could probably look it up and try to figure it out.
You're gonna make me go through this fucking chart again. There's like 3 things.
So the thing that I'll tell you is that this chart, does not speak about negative stat values at all. At least I don't believe that it does. I've seen this document before, and I don't remember this document speaking about negative stat values in any shape or form.
Okay, so I don't remember exactly how negative stat values work. In terms of being able to like Google this, I mean, I don't even know where you would begin with it. Like negative stat values Yu-Gi-Oh! Let's see. Negative and infinite attack in Yu-Gi-Oh! Board and card games stackexchange.com. All right.
Is this from 12 years ago? Is that what that says?
Everyone I've spoken to says that you cannot have negative attack. Why? It's okay. No, negative numbers are not possible on monsters. It is common that such values in games refer to non-negative integers, and therefore can be assumed that in case unless otherwise stated. This one will take me like a literal hour to get. I'm just gonna go with 700. I think it goes it's technically at 0. Well, technically it's maybe at a negative stat value, but Rush recklessly just applies to the 0. So I'm just gonna go with 700 because I think this is genuinely will take me forever to get. I could get something like this though. All right. So we control Borbo, which has Whiptail as material and is equipped with Axe of Despair.
You should know all these cards. I don't think any of these cards are cards you've never seen before.
Yeah. It's just a case of how do they work. So you activate and resolve Pianissimo on the Borbo. Pianissimo. Target a face of monster control this turn. That face of monster's original attack becomes 100. Okay, so I feel like this should be quite easy, right? Because it sets the original attack of it. The Borbo should go down to 100. And then it gains 22 from these continuously applying modifiers. So 22 plus the 100 should put it to 23.
Damn. Okay.
Well, hopefully. That's how
Google not even necessary. That's crazy.
Dude, I'm telling you, but like the thing is like...
Yeah, if you know, you know. Like, you don't have to Google everything. If you know, you know.
No, but that's the thing. I don't actually know. I think I know, but if I was to try and attempt to know, I think I would have to go through this, and this is tripping me up too hard. It really is too difficult for me to figure this chart out. So,
Fair.
like, I mean, if I was to give it an attempt here, sorry, Borbo, Axe of Despair are really the most important ones here. They are applying a continuous attack, addition and subtraction. They should both of them be 2. In fact, that is literally Axe of Despair right there. So that is number 2.
Right there, yeah.
And then a new card is being applied, which should be Pianissimo, which should come under the category of apply a lingering modification that sets or switches the original attack. Oh, it's right there. Yeah, Pianissimo. So that's number 5.
There it is. Pianissimo.
Yep. So 2. So 2, and then it goes to newly applying number 5, which should be over here. Apply 5 and 6 and reapply 1 and 2 afterwards. Am I getting that right?
You are on the right dot, yeah. You're on the right category.
Yeah, so you apply 5 and 6, which should be the Pianissimo. Reapply it, set it to 100, and then reapply 1, 2 afterwards. Right, so I should be right about that. Alright, then we have Nibiru. You control a primal being token, summoned by the effect of Nibiru, whose attack is 3000. Your opponent activates and resolves the last effect of Finmel. After this turn ends, what is the attack of the value of the primal being token? So Nibiru summons a token that is...
You know, I had to shoehorn in an art mage card in here.
That's my favorite term, shoehorning. Special summon this card, then special summon a primal being token. Your opponent's field. This token's attack becomes the original attack and defense of the tributed monster. Becomes the original attack and defense. So becoming an original attack and defense, is that continuously applied? This token becomes the original attack. It's being set to something. I think becoming something should be lingering. So it should be lingering, apply lingering modification that sets or switches, because it doesn't say anything about setting. So I think Nibiru should be here. Can I even see Nibiru? I don't see Nibiru in any of these. I think Nibiru should be...
Nibiru is not on this chart, no.
I think Nibiru's token should be number 1, if I'm not mistaken. And then we're going to use Finmel. Negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls. That shouldn't be relevant.
So for context, this is just Forbidden Droplet on the Nib token, but this is legal because you can't Forbidden Droplet a token, but you can Finmel a token. And for context, this comes up, I think, one every like 10 games I play on Master whenever I play RP.
Okay, so if that's number 1 and the Finmel is 5... then it should be apply 5 and 6, then reapply 1 afterwards. Apply 5 and 6, then reapply 1 afterwards. Apply 5 and 6. Apply
so
the
for context,
Finmel,
the difference
it,
between 5 and 3, by the way, are a modification of the current stats versus original stats. 5 and 6 is original stats. 3 and 4 are current stats. So Finmel is actually 3 here.
Apply lingering modification that sets or switches the current. Apply the
current attack rather than the original attack.
Current attack.
Because Finmel doesn't apply to the original attack; it applies to the current attack.
Okay.
Their attack becomes half.
See, I would never be able to guess that without you.
You probably could if you fucking sat down with it and took a while, but yeah.
Are not reapplied until 3 stops applying. So what did I say Nibiru's token was? I think it's hard to say because it's a token that summons and becomes an attack stat. Not like if you called by the grave Nibiru later, it like stops the token from having attack. So it sets it to a specific value. So it should be lingering, I guess. So it should be 1 and then Finmel 3. Remove the previous 1, 3 when applying 3.
Wait, so you said it sets it to a specific value. 1 is an addition subtraction, which wouldn't be setting it to a specific value.
But isn't that what lingering is?
Well, that would be the 1 is lingering addition subtraction. 3 is lingering setting to a specific value.
This is so confusing. Okay, lingering. Remove previous 1, 3 when applying 3. Okay, so we just ignore Nibiru and then we set it to this one. So it should be 15, but it's until the end of this turn. So it sets it to that number and then it wears off. Now, if I'm not mistaken, if you droplet an Appaloosa and then it goes to the end of the turn, it just stays at that number, if I recall. Now, I don't know if it works exactly like that, but I think that might be how this is going to work.
One thing that I will say about the droplet on Appaloosa is that it's a bad example because Appaloosa is an effect to gain its own attack, and Droplet negates that effect. Whereas the Nibiru token, it's not the Nibiru token's effect that's granting it any stats. So the effect negation does come into play when dropletting an Apollosa, as opposed to using Finmel on a Nib token. Here we're talking exclusively about the stats, nothing about negation of effects. Even though Finmel does negate effects, it doesn't. That has no bearing over the Nibiru token because the Nibiru token doesn't have an effect.
I think it should probably just be 15.
After the Finmel wears off, it goes to 15.
After this turn, when this attack...
Because this question is asking after the turn is over, and Finmel only halves until the end of the turn.
Okay, so it should just go to 3,000, I feel. Big feelies, though. Holy crap, dude! What is going on here?
Yeah. Okay. So this question is goofy. It's a goofy one. It's intended to be tripping you up a little bit.
Okay.
But I'll clarify the board state for you.
All right. Let's get goofy. You have less life points than your opponent. You control Wee Witch, equipped with Megamorph.
Equipped with a Megamorph, controlled by your opponent. So your opponent's Megamorph is equipped to your Wee Witch. What are you drawing?
Just so I understand the board state. So this is the opponent. That's why it's red.
He's angry. He's like, fuck your Wee Witch's apprentice.
Yeah. Your opponent activates and resolves the effect of Gale. Oh my god, we got Gale in here as well. All right, so now we've got like...
Gale is a prime suspect whenever it comes to stat modification.
Okay, then we've got like Gale over here. Let's give him some bird wings.
Bro's drawing that shit.
Okay, and then he's using his laser eye beams to set her attack. Gale resolves on Wee Witch's apprentice. After that, Megamorph is destroyed by the effect of MST. Oh my god, dude, are you kidding me? And then we've got like an MST.
Basically, the MST doesn't really matter. So again, you've misrepresented the board state here.
What do you mean I misrepresented the game state?
So your board state is wrong because your Wee Witch that you control belongs to your opponent. Your opponent used their Megamorph on your Wee Witch.
You control Wee Witch equipped with Megamorph controlled by your opponent.
So you have a Wee Witch, and the Megamorph is controlled by your opponent. And if you read Megamorph, you'll understand why that matters.
So how did I get this Wee Witch? Was it donated?
No, the Wee Witch is yours. You can equip an equip spell to your opponent's monster, bro. How do you think Snatch Steal works?
What if I misrepresented? What do you mean? I haven't misrepresented anything. This is... Yeah.
I just want you to... this is Wee Witch. I just want you to understand that the Megamorph is on your opponent's board, not on yours.
That's why it's red, Kevin!
Oh, never mind. I should have thought about the color coding. I'm sorry.
I didn't. It wasn't just for
fun.
About
the color coding. My bad. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I fucked up. That's on me. Yeah. So basically, Wee Witch's apprentice effect is applying. The effect of Megamorph is also applying. You Gale your opponent's Wee Witch, or your opponent Gales your Wee Witch, I should say. After that, the Megamorph is removed by the MST. What are the stats of the Wee Witch?
1984, that's what they should be. She is 1400, and then her effect is also applying. All darks on the field gain 500, and then we have plus 500.
This is awesome. This is cracked.
I'm trying, like, I'm a visual learner, okay?
No, I love this. This is fantastic. I love this. This is great.
Mr. Megamorph over here is then debuffing Wee Witch to actually be plus 7, to be set to 700, which is half of 14. But then we also have her continuous effect applying, which is the plus 500, which should set her to 1200. So I think I'm right so far. Then, Gale decides to show up, and he's like, set yourself now. So he's like 600, right? Because he's setting it to half the attack. But now the question is, does Wee Witch then gain off of the 600 and the Megamorph? And we also have to figure out how this thing is popped. Jesus Christ. There's so much to figure out here, dude. Okay, so, I mean, it is possible to figure it out with just this.
All right, figure it out. I'm down. I need you to figure this one out. I would love for you to figure this one out.
Apply a continuous modification that sets or switches the current attack and defense. Megamorph says it sets it to original attack. So not current.
Megamorph is also right there on the picture. It's right there.
But wait, why? Is it current? But Megamorph says original.
So Megamorph says that its current attack becomes double or half its original attack. But this does apply a modification to its current attack because it applies on the current attack based upon the number of their original attack.
That's really confusing.
Yeah, Megamorph is worded extremely strangely, but it specifically cares to set you to a number based upon your original attack.
Okay, and then we have Witch, which is probably... Can I just cheat and see if I can find a picture of like something similar to Witch here?
Witch is not there. It is not on there.
All dark monsters feel gain attack. So that is just a very basic apply continuous addition subtraction. That should just be number 2. The numbers,
that is correct. I will give you that. That is correct.
So these are just 2 and 4. And then now we need to figure out what Gale is. So Gale...
Well, so go one step at a time. One step at a time. Because obviously the Witch is applying first. So you have Witch, and then you equip Megamorph. What does that do to it?
Sorry, I'm confusing myself. So apply continuous addition subtraction with the Witch. So that's number 2. And then previously applying... But the thing is, there's 2 previously applying effects. So how do you figure out 2 previously applying effects?
Well, just go one at a time. Start with your Witch. You're starting at 2, and then you're adding 4. So what does the Megamorph do to the effect of the Witch?
It applies number 4, and then you reapply number 2 afterwards. So you apply number 4, which is Megamorph.
So at this point, what are the stats of the Witch?
So Megamorph should half her down to 700, and then you... So it should 700. But then afterwards, you apply 2, which should be plus 500. So it should be 1200.
Perhaps, yeah.
Okay. I don't know. You don't seem convinced. All right. And then after that, we're moving on to Gale. And then Gale says, target face a monster, that attack and defense becomes half its current attack and defense. Apply linger modifier that sets or switches the original. Apply continuous modifier that sets or switches the current. So Gale should also be number 4 here. So after that clusterfuck is resolved, then we go to number 4, which should be 2 back to 4. So apply 4 and then reapply 2 afterwards. No, wait, Gale shouldn't be number 4. Is it? Target face a monster you control, that attack becomes half its current attack. Apply continuous modification. It's not continuous. Apply lingering modification that sets or switches the original, but it's not original. Apply continuous modification. It should be lingering. Apply lingering modification that sets or switches current. Yeah, he's right there. Number 3. Okay,
he's right there. He's right there.
And then, so it should be number. So now the newly applying Gale should be 3, which is applying over number. But so how do we resolve this part now? Okay, so now we know that it's 1200. So how do we apply Gale to this 1200? See, this is where I'm lost now, because we've got 2 cards that work in different ways. We've got Megamorph and we've got the addition subtraction. 4 and 2. Now we need to apply 3 to be previously applying 4 and 2. I don't know how to do that with this chart.
Figure it out.
Figure it out.
Figure it out.
2 and 4 are not.
That's the whole quiz. The whole thing is about can you figure it out with the resources available online.
Okay, well they're both the same
Google
anyway.
Other stuff too if you're trying to find something. But yeah.
2, 4 are not reapplied until 3 stops applying. 2 and 3 are not reapplied until 3 stops applying. Okay, so Gale just says fuck you to all of this calculation, and then just says set yourself. So 600, and then this is the kicker. We're gonna go MST on the Megamorph over here. And the Megamorph is now... So now we go to previously applying Gale, which should be number 3. And then newly applying number 2.
You're removing Megamorph. You're not newly applying anything. You're removing the Megamorph.
So what? Now I have to... Now I have to work backwards?
Or you could just ask Grok, I mean...
He's probably going to do better than me. This is too hard. Like, this one is genuinely too hard. Because now I don't know how to, like, work backwards from the Gale that set them to 600. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying, yeah, and I agree that this is the part that gets complicated.
Oh, this is the hard part now.
Yes, this is the hard part. This is the part that complicates things.
Okay,
is knowing what continues to apply, what stops applying, what gets removed, what's waiting for another effect to stop applying before reapplying, and things like that. There's a lot of moving pieces when it comes to multiple effects that modulate stats.
I'm just gonna go pick Gale number 3 and then jump to 4. 1, 3, 5 are not reapplied until 4 stops applying. So 4 stops applying, and then all of these reapply. So we reapply all of this. So this falls off, and then she's at 600, and then goes up to... I don't know. It's too hard. It's genuinely too hard. Back up to 1200. Too hard.
Sure.
It's too hard. So I'm just let's just get the last one done now. You control Lava Battle Guard and Swamp Battle Guard. You summon Red Ransom. That's banned, Kevin. Pointing to Bitron. Their
it's
Red
not banned
Ransom.
The TCG.
True.
Wait, is it banned the TCG? No, it's not.
The Red Ransom attacks and destroys Lava Battle Guard by battle. What is the attack value of your Swamp Battle Guard? All right. Okay. Okay.
Swamp is green, but okay.
Oh shit. Okay, gotta keep this canonically accurate.
Well, no, lava's red. None of them are purple.
Oh my god, dude! This This judge is even sharking my drawings.
Bro, I mean, you know, you gotta keep it lore accurate, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, lava and swamp. Gains 5 over each swamp battle guard, gains 5 over each lava battle guard. Oh my god, dude. Okay. So plus
they're both
5
getting plus 500 because the other is on board.
Mm-hmm. Dude, if someone activates a mind control here, I'm gonna be so pissed. Your opponent summons Red Ransom, pointing to their Bytron. Alright, so now we have Red Ransom here somewhere. Yep. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, I see where this is going. Yeah, you drew a Bellsprout. Awesome. Editor, put up a picture of Bellsprout. Tell me that's not Bellsprout right now.
When this card points to a monster, the original attack of all effect monster opponent controls are switched. Can use the effect once per turn. This card, okay, alright, so, and then she is pointing to a Bytron.
Bro, she is straight pointing at him. Holy, I can't with the fucking drawings, bro.
It really helps, honestly. So she says...
No, I believe in you. I believe.
The original attack and defense of all effect monster opponent controls are switched. So she's like, okay, so then she's purple. Her thing is like, she's like, whoop, switcheroo. And they should also be 1550, 1800. So he should be...
Well, so they don't swap attack with each other. The attack and defense are swapped. So it's basically she's shield and sword on a continuous effect.
Their mouse, Red Ransom, attacks and destroys your lava guard by battle. After what is the attack value of the swamp battle guard? Jesus Christ. Attacks and destroys your lava battle guard. Okay, so first of all, lava battle guard is the red one. He has 1550. Yeah. He gains 500 for each swamp battle guard. So he should be 2050. And then she says swap something. So he's at 2050. And then your opponent summons... The original attack and defense of all effect monster opponent controls are switched. So he's actually at 1800. So he should be 2300. And then their malice attacks and destroys your lava battle guard. What is the attack value of your swamp battle guard? So now the swamp battle guard, there's nothing to switch. No, it's switched with the attack. So 18 defense. And it doesn't control that, so it's 18. While this card points to the original attack and defense of all cards switched. Original attack and defense versus the continuous applying effect after battle has concluded. So before she attacks, he should be at 2000. At least I think that is correct. So she attacks, kills the battle guard, drops him down to 15. Is it really that simple? It can't be that simple. It should just be 15, I feel. I don't know. Like, it seems simple. All right. That's it. I'm locking this in.
Hold up. Wait, go back to that question. I might have been a dumbass. Give me 1 sec.
Oh, no.
Red Ransom is also 23, right? So, yeah, she would crash in this situation. I fucked up that question. That she shouldn't be... She should swing the Swamp Battle Guard, not the Lava Battle Guard. She's supposed to swing the one that's smallest. So, I mean, same thing, just the other way around. Literally just the other way around. She's supposed to stay alive. Because the question is about whether or not the attack buff goes down on the attack or on the defense. Yeah, because they're swapped and then it gains. Because she swaps them, so the Lava Battle Guard happens to be 23, so they would crash, which is not supposed to happen. The Red Ransom is supposed to live. So I made a little bit of an oopsie. Okay,
so she's supposed to attack.
So she's supposed to swing the swamp. She's supposed to swing the Swamp Battle Guard, not the Lava Battle Guard. I swapped the names accidentally.
Okay, so if we assume this, then she attacks over this. He's at 2k. She hits it for 300.
So then what's the attack of the Lava Battle Guard after that battle?
The attack of this guy would go up to 2350. Then she runs over his friend.
Wait, why'd it be 2350? It'd be 23 because of 1800 plus 500 be 23.
23, and then he loses 500 again. So I mean, yeah, it should be okay. 18. All right, I'm locking this in, Kevin. These are my answers. Let's. All
right, so let's go over each of them from the top. So you control Blue Eyes, equipped with Dark World Shackles. Your opponent uses the last effect of Heatleo, targeting Blue Eyes White Dragon, and the Ash Blossom enjoys spring in their grave. After the turn ends, what is the attack value of your Blue Eyes White Dragon? So from the chart that you found, which is similar to the chart that I made. The chart that I made is more word and less number just because I think it's easier to follow. Like if I showed you my chart, you would likely have had an easier time following it.
Yes, I couldn't find it on Google.
Yeah, it's not just available, yeah. In this situation, you're correct. The answer is 100 because after basically the Salamangreat Heatleo doesn't remove the effect of Darkworld Shackles entirely. It just removes it during the time where Heatleo is applying. After Heatleo stops applying, then the Darkworld Shackles reapply. So you did get this one correctly.
Hey.
Question 2, you control Grand Maju de Iza. You have 5 banished cards. Your opponent activates Shrink by targeting Grand Maju de Iza. After that resolves, you activate Pot Desires, banishing the top 10 cards of your deck face down. What is the attack value of the Grand Maju de Iza at that point? And the answer to this one is actually not 5,000. So the reason why is because I think you overlooked the fact that Shrink applies to the original attack and not to the current attack. But I think a big thing to keep in mind is that if it applied to the current attack, so let's say instead of Shrink, it was Gale the Whirlwind. If you Gale a Grand Maju that's on 2,000, it would have it to 1,000. If you Desires after the fact, the Grand Maju actually doesn't gain the attack from all the other cards. Because once you apply a lingering halving of stats or a lingering setting to a specific value, then that continuous effect of Grand Maju stops applying to its attack stat. With Shrink, however, because it applies onto the original attack, then the effect of Grand Maju de Iza doesn't stop applying. And because Grand Maju's original attack is 0, the actual answer here is that Grand Maju starts off with the 5 banished cards. It's at 2,000. The Shrink doesn't do anything to it. And then once you Pot of Desires, it goes up to 6,000. Is actually the correct answer here.
Doesn't Grand Maju have question mark attack?
Question mark attack is always treated as 0 while on the field. The original attack is always treated as 0 while on the field. Yeah. Question 3. Dark Rebellion XC Dragon activates its effect by targeting your opponent's the Wicked Dreadroot. After it resolves, what is the attack value of your Dark Rebellion XC Dragon? The 1625 that you got to here is it's way off. And the reason why is because usually where people are confused, typically the answer that people get to is 3250, which was the one that you initially got before you psyched yourself out into thinking, does it reapply again and all this stuff? And then you used Google and it kind of led you astray. But the big part about this question that's complicated is that the answer actually isn't 3250, it's 2250. And the reason why, and this is the kind of thing that's hard to find and hard to understand, is that the Wicked Dreadroot is part of these cards that that judges like to refer to as super continuous effects, which is really funny because you almost typed super continuous into your URL before, I was like, what the fuck, he knows? But what these super continuous effects are, it's a list of 10 specific cards that are reapplied after everything else, and the Wicked Dreadroot is one of those. So basically, the way that Dark Rebellion Sea Dragon interacts with the Wicked Dreadroot is you'll Dark Rebellion Sea Dragon with 1250 because it's halved due to the effect of Dreadroot, and Dreadroot has 4k. What your initial assumption was is you just halve it to 2000 and you take the 2000 going up to 3250. But the actual way that it interacts with the Wicked Dreadroot, because it's part of this separate, type of effect, type of continuous effect, the way that it actually interacts is you have Dark Rebellion Sea Dragon having the Wicked Dreadroot to 2000 from its 4000, but instead of calculating 1250 plus 2000, you calculate 2500 plus 2000 up to 450. Then you reapply the Wicked Dreadroot after the fact, and it halves to 2250. Hard thing to know, hard thing to find, and it's just a thing that's really difficult to find when scouring the internet. So yeah, the answer to this one is actually 2250, not 1625 or 3250, but this is the type that is meant to stump people. I don't think anyone, without being like one of those, I know this thing, I don't think you can realistically find this anymore.
Okay.
So we're 1 for 3 right now. We're going to go to question number 4. You control Bitron, whose attack was reduced by 1,000 with the effect of Cookie Yummy. Your opponent activates or resolves the effect of Armored Bee on your Bitron. After that, you activate the effect of Rush Recklessly on your Bitron. What is the attack value of your Bitron? And here you are correct for the wrong reason. I think you're correct without having fully understood the reason why you're correct. But you're correct, so hey, we'll give you a point on that one, 2 for 4. But the reason why it interacts this way is that, yes, negative stat values exist, like you had said. However, if you look up effects like Armored Bee or anything like, Forbidden Droplet or Gale the Whirlwind, effects that half or set to half or swap the stats or anything like that, those effects set to a specific value, and they effectively take into consideration the current attack and they erase any addition subtraction effects that were previously applied. So the effect of Cookie Yummy that sets the Bitron to technically negative 800 is erased, but the Armored Bee applies to the current attack of the Bitron, which is 0. So it's 0 divided by 2, which is 0. At which point, when you apply Rush Recklessly, you're just applying Rush Recklessly plus 700 to a 0 attack stat. Whereas if you didn't use the Armored Bee here, it was just Cookie Yummy setting it to negative 800. If you Rush Recklessly after the Cookie Yummy, it would still be 0 because the stat line would technically be negative 100. But because of the Armored Bee, it erased away that effect of the Cookie Yummy. So you're correct. We'll give you the point, but I gave you the reasoning behind it.
I think the question would have been harder if you just didn't put Armored Bee in this, I guess.
That's fair. Yeah. I mean, I specifically wanted to have that extra bit of interaction, but I agree that it would be a good question even without it there. So 2 for 4. On to question number 5. You control Zodiac Borbo that has Whiptail as material.
All right, I'm pretty sure I got this one right.
Despair. You activate and resolve Pianissimo on your Zodiac Borbo. What is the attack value of your Zodiac Borbo at this point? You answered 2300. Which is correct. It's correct for the exact reason that you said. The Pianissimo doesn't apply to the current attack. It applies to the original attack. And like I said just before, original attack of question mark is treated as 0. So the original attack goes from 0 on the board to 100. And then it also gets the gain from having Whiptail as material and the Axe of Despair. So it's gaining 2200 on top of the 100 original attack to go up to 2300. So you're correct there. So you are 3 for 5. 3 for 5, right? Yeah, 3 for 5 currently. On to question number 6. You control a Primal Being token summoned by the effect of Nibiru the Primal Being, whose attack is 3000. Your opponent activates and resolves the last effect of Archmage Finmel. After this turn ends, what is the attack value of your Primal Being token? So this one is interesting because I assume that a lot of people know the interaction between Linkuriboh and Apollousa, which is that if you link Karibo and Apollousa, even if the Apo has like used its effect 2 or 3 times or 4 times or whatever, after the link Karibo stops applying, the Apo will go back up to whatever the stats that it had when it was summoned. So like if you summon it with 4 materials, negate 4 times, and then like Moon Mirror Shield it or link Karibo it, after it stops applying, the Apollousa goes back up to 3200. The reason why it does that is because Apollousa applies that modifier to its original attack, as opposed to the token summoned by Nibiru the Primal Being applies that attack to its current attack, but not to its original attack. The original attack of the token is question mark. And the reason why that matters is because when the effect of Finmel stops applying, it'll return the attack value of the token to its original attack, not what its current attack was before Finmel applied. So in this situation, the token's attack actually drops to 0, which is super relevant if you're playing Archmage. The amount of times where I'll summon a 7,000 attack token on my opponent's board, and I go, it's okay, I'm just going to Finmel it. It's going to be 0 at the end of the turn. I don't have to bother with it. I don't have to deal with it. So this is a really relevant one, and I think that these kind of effects are probably the ones that players aren't as familiar with and should be, because they actually come up a lot in today's metagame. So you're currently 3 for 6, 2 more questions to go. Let's see if you're close. You have less life points than your opponent. You control Wee Witch's Apprentice equipped with Megamorph controlled by your opponent. Your opponent activates and resolves the effect of Blackwing Gale the Whirlwind on your Wee Witch's Apprentice. After that, Megamorph is destroyed by the effect of Mystical Space Typhoon. At this point, what is the attack value of your Wee Witch's Apprentice? So, in this situation, your Wee Witch's Apprentice is base 1400 attack, gaining 500 to go up to 1900. Your opponent equips their Megamorph to your Wee Witch's Apprentice, which sets its current attack continuously to half of its original attack, half of 14,700, and you are correct that the Wee Witch's Apprentice effect does reapply after this. So it does go up to 1,200. At which point you Blackwing Gale the Whirlwind on the Wee Witch's
This is
Apprentice.
where it gets hard. Okay, so then it goes to 600, right? This part should also be right.
Yeah, you set it to half of its current attack, which is 600. You got confused on the chart here. The chart states that when you apply an effect that sets to a specific value, you basically erase both the category from Wee Witch's Apprentice effect as well as Megamorph's effect. So those stop applying to it while Gale is applying. So the Gale is going to half it to 600. And then after that, if you remove the Megamorph, that doesn't matter because the Megamorph was no longer being considered into the stat line of the Wee Witch's Apprentice as long as Gale the Whirlwind was applying. So in this situation, the answer is actually 600. Removing the Megamorph after applying the Gale doesn't have any impact on the stat line because Gale is the one that's basically in the driver's seat that's dictating what the stats of the Wee Witch's Apprentice are. So the answer here is actually 600, not 1200.
Yeah, so I mean, I got up to the point where it kind of just comes down to like, you kind of have to know that when something gets set, you just wash away the previous effects. Like, they're not relevant, even if it's equips. Because that's the thing. I was thinking like, okay, when you set something, it just sets it to that number. However, the problem is like, I'm not sure what happens after when things fall off it, equips and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, which is really difficult information to find online. Super, super hard information to find online. Even the chart that was there, you have to know and understand how to apply that chart to be able to know that you're not reapplying anything, as opposed to, you know, you're just going to ask Grok, hey, Grok, how does this one work? So you're currently, what is this, 3 for 7? So you're going for half the points. You're going for a 50-50 score.
And we're not getting this last one.
So this last one, you control Lava Battle Guard and Swamp Battle Guard. Your opponent summons Malice Red Ransom, pointing to their Bitron. Their Malice Red Ransom attacks and destroys your Swamp Battle Guard by battle. I mixed the names up. I swapped them around. After this, what is the attack value of your Lava Battle Guard? You said the answer is 1800. And to this, you are in fact correct. That is the correct answer.
It's that simple? Did I use the wrong formula?
It is that simple. No, you used the correct formula. So Red Ransom is a weird one, which is a lingering modification to current attack and defense. But it's an interesting one because all the other cards that do this are cards that were never really relevant in the meta, except for like the...
Oh, number 6.
Red Ransom is 0.6, yeah.
Modification.
So this is the type of modification that a lot of people haven't encountered before and got very confused as to how Red Ransom applied with addition, subtraction, lingering, or continuous effects. And I thought it'd be interesting to include it, but yes, it's actually a lot more simple than people assume that it is, because you just apply the addition, subtraction, regardless of if it's a continuous, regardless of if it's a lingering. You just apply it after applying the switch of Red Ransom, despite the fact that they were applying first. A lot of people with knowledge of other TCGs typically would assume that Red Ransom would just swap whatever their current attack and defense is, and the plus 500 that Lava and Swamp Battle Guard are gaining to their attack, they would just assume that would just swap over to the defense because Red Ransom is swapping the stats. So that was just a little trip up, but you didn't fall for it, and you got the answer right. So that's a 4 out of 8, half of the score.
Dude, I'll take that. That's not bad.
I just want to know, do you feel, like, how much would you have felt that you would have gotten these more correct if you decided I'm going to spend 3 hours looking at this chart and trying to figure it out? Do you feel like you would have been able to get an 8 out of 8 score on this or no?
No, I think I definitely would have got the Dreadroot one. Even if I just sat here and just locked in for like an hour on like one question each, I think I definitely would have got this one wrong. I don't think I could have got that.
For the Dreadroot one, go back to the judge resources. You're going to kick yourself for this one. Go back to the chart, scroll down. Special effects that will always apply last. Look, Dreadroot is in that list. There it is, yeah. Right, it's the 8th one. Yeah. And Avatar, yeah, so it's right there. So, I mean, if you had read the full document or whatever and then looked at the little pictures, yeah, you would have found it.
I actually don't think I would have, because like it is really complicated.
The other thing that I think is really interesting is if you go to the database, right? The db.ygorganization.com.
Oh, the DB one?
Yeah. Well, the DB one is in English, right? If you go to Wicked Dreadroot on here, there are none of the database entries on Wicked Dreadroot that would imply that it works the way that it does, that it's like a super continuous effect or anything like that. I believe the only one that would check this is specifically the one with Slifer, but I don't remember. Like, you could have looked at each of these rulings, but none of these rulings answers directly like what the stats would be. Apart from some of these Japanese ones, it's possible. Maybe the one with the Command Knight, I'm not certain. But yeah, you would have had to go through and read effectively all of these to try to even figure it out. It's not obvious or in your face that it's like, yeah, this is one of those quote-unquote super continuous effects that just works completely differently than every other type of effect on the chart and everything. It's hard to come to that conclusion, that resolution.
Yeah, I think this is a really good chart. It's just like, the hardest part about this is finding the card, knowing which category it falls into, and then applying that against a newly applying other number.
Do you feel like what people were saying on YouTube is correct? Can you just find all this information online and the documents are worthless? You can say yes, that is fine. I'm okay with being told Yeah, I mean, it's out there and it's hard to find, or it's easy to find, or whatever, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. You could. The problem is, like, the thing with Metafy, and not to like gas up Metafy too much, is like you're not paying for information that's unique or special. Like, you're not gonna get like a magic bean or something by signing up to Metafy. What you're getting is a personal curated thing where the person ideally identifies your weaknesses, identifies your personal like brain and line of thinking, and then corrects it for you and helps you go through that process. Because ultimately, like, if you were to ask a question like this, you could probably get all the resources and find it online, and then you would have to verify it and ask other people, and you would eventually get an answer. But that is a long process that probably has to, you know, go through multiple different channels and different places to then get people who are trustworthy enough to guarantee that you get the correct answer. Like, Metafy isn't giving you like different unique information. It is all out there. It's just personalized for you to help you reach that conclusion.
With that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to Farfa for taking this quiz and basically being my guinea pig for this little test that I wanted to do. I appreciate you for coming on. Thank you so much for that.
I guess I should have Googled more, but again, I was just sort of under the impression that like there's just some things that you can't Google, but maybe there is. Maybe I should have just grokked more. Maybe I should have just checked out more Reddit.
So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you all in the next video. Let me know in the comment section below if you think you know stat modulation. Do you think you would have done better? I would like to know. So let me know, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good one, y'all. Peace!